Hi there, my friends. This is Nan Riddle, pastor and life coach, and I'm in my little kitchen again. If you haven't tuned in before, this is my little second home where I stay when I'm pastoring during the week, so you can see around the kitchen just a little bit here. And if you've tuned in before, you know that I don't cook. So I guess I'm calling these my kitchen talks, even though I don't cook, which is kind of funny. And as I was in the kitchen, of course, that makes you think about food, and I thought about how I would have been really scared to share a meal with him because every time there was food involved, then Jesus dropped something really heavy on the disciples after that. And this one particular day, they had just fed more than 5,000 people. They're by the Sea of Galilee, by the lake. And the people there were wanting to turn Jesus into an earthly king, so they're like just clamoring after him. He just can't get away from him. So he's going to go up in the hills to pray, and he sends the disciples out on a boat onto the water. So he goes up into the hills to pray, and the disciples are out on the boat. And here's where the heavy thing comes. A big storm comes up, and in Jewish thought, if you saw in ancient beliefs, in their Jewish thought, if you saw a figure or a spirit after dark, then that would mean disaster for you. Okay, so they're out on the boat. This big storm comes up, and Jesus is up in the hillside praying. Now, it's interesting because it's not like this storm took Jesus by surprise. Jesus knew this storm was coming. And so he's on the hillside. He sees the storm coming. The disciples don't know that. They're in the boat, and it's so funny to me because as the storm comes up, it says they were straining against the oars because of the waves and because of the wind. And I think it's interesting that as the storm comes up and they begin to strain, you don't hear them say things like, "Oh, no problem, Jesus will be on his way," or you don't hear that Simon Peter's looking over the boat going, "Oh, let me look, I'm sure Jesus will come to us on the water." They don't even expect Jesus. They're not even looking for him. But Jesus has been watching them. They never left his eyes. And so he steps out onto that water, and he begins walking on the water. And we often make that about that Jesus calms the storms around us and the storms inside of us, and Jesus does do that. But in this particular story, it was more of Jesus just really displaying his omnipotence, his almightiness, his authority and dominion over all creation. So he walks on the waters of that storm as the great I am. And when the disciples see it, because of that Jewish thought, they think that he's a spirit. And they cry out. And when they cry out, he comes over to the boat, and he gets into the boat with them, and then everything calms and it's still. The huge thing about this, my friend, is right now in your circumstances, if there's a storm, even if you're not expecting Jesus to come and rescue you on those stormy waters, even if you're not looking for him, that doesn't keep him from relentlessly pursuing you. Even if he's there and you don't recognize him, you don't recognize what he's doing, that doesn't lessen his ability to do for you. That doesn't lessen his impact on your situation. That doesn't lessen his authority or dominion over whatever circumstances you have going on. I think that's good news because half the time I just don't get it in life. So even when there's no evidence of Jesus at work in your storm, even when you can't find God's fingerprints or DNA on all the different things that are going wrong or happening in your life, no, that won't lessen God's ability. No, the fact that you can't see God doesn't mean that God has taken God's eyes off of you, my friend. So be on the lookout. Jesus will be coming on your stormy waters, whether you see him or not, whether you expect him or not. Expect some big things to happen, my friend. Expect the storms to be calm. Expect to see your Jesus coming to you in your boat. But more than that, know that rather than just calling to you from the water, Jesus will climb in your boat with you when you don't get it, when you don't see him and you don't understand. So have a great day, my friend. Thanks for tuning into these kitchen talks. Bye-bye now.